Welcome to the webinar. My name is Greg Wiselka. I'm the product manager for Defender for Cloud Apps from Customer Experience Engineering team. And I would like to take you through first through a couple of slides, and then we'll focus on demo as well. And then we'll open up to the Q&As as well. Please feel free to ask any questions during my presentation and demo. I have a number of good colleagues of mine who are from the same team who will be helping with answering the questions. So yeah, without further ado, I think we can start. Okay, so I think we are all familiar with the organizations quickly adopting AI applications, and you can see that there is over 93% of them that are interested in developing, implementing AI strategy. There is also majority of them, as you see, 90%. And they're really underprepared, and somehow they don't really know how to handle risks associated with AI applications. And hopefully at the end of this presentation, you will have a better idea how to use MDA to protect your AI applications, and it will help you with the strategy around AI security going forward. A little bit of interesting stats here. So based on the study, recent study, here we have some challenges of managing the data risks generated by AI applications. So there is a lack of visibility into risks. There is also lack of controls to protect data shared in AI. Another critical concern is data security. How do security teams ensure that any sensitive data that's been exchanged between the user and app is protected? Over 35% of organizations feel vulnerable towards it. And there is increased regulatory pressure as well. So with the rapid adoption of AI business workflows, it's important that security teams remain compliant and can keep up with the new regulations that come around the data protection. And that's why there is a lot of CISOs, a lot of leaders, security leaders are really concerned. And as you can see, almost half of them might consider disabling AI applications in the workplace. So this is the very interesting insights, and you can see the scale of the problem and the challenge. So Microsoft Security offers a comprehensive suite of the solutions to enable the secure and responsible adoption of AI. So our portfolio, as you can see on slide here, includes Microsoft Defender, Entra, Purview, and Intune. They work together to help to secure your data and interactions in AI applications, whether they are Copilot or M365 or third-party AI applications. Today we'll focus on Microsoft Defender and MDA and how MDA can provide security for SaaS applications, for SaaS Gen AI SaaS apps. Okay. Okay, so we will go through the demo and we'll dive into protecting and governing as well the third-party AI applications and discovering them as well. So we use discovery functionality you might be familiar with, and we'll focus on AI section and the category of the AI applications. we've got over 1,000 applications, AI apps categorized there that helps you to discover and govern those applications as well. And then we'll look into Copilot and this, how you can secure and govern Copilot for Microsoft 365. And we'll look into advanced hunting as well, and also you have and we'll provide you with experience how we can detect the potential financial regulated files that have been could be potentially exposed through the Copilot search, but we've got other detections as well, like suspicious interaction with the credentials related file access and network related file access as well through the Copilot. But we'll focus on one scenario today for the interest of time. Okay, so the first demo will focus on the Contoso that has a challenge to discover AI applications. So they started adopting, they probably don't even know how many AI applications are out there in their environment. So the concern and risk is high, and you can see the CISO could potentially even consider about disabling the AI applications completely in their environment. So to avoid that, we want to look into what's out there, and we want to categorize and look into potential risk involved with some AI applications. So we'll go through the catalog, and then you'll be able to create a policy that can simplify selecting and then managing those more risky and governing those more risky AI apps. So let's go and look into my demo. Hopefully my demo gods are with me today. So when you look into, you might be already familiar with cloud discovery, and you might already have integrated with the MDE. That's when you get the most benefit out of the immediate option to sanction and unsanctioned apps. What we want to do, we want to look into the discovered applications. So out of the box, you will see the dashboard. Before I actually switch to discovered apps, you've got a dashboard that can help you to focus. So I've got actually selected stream when I focus on generative AI applications here, and you can have a good understanding of potentially risky applications, and that applications that have medium, high, or low risk. So you can look into a cloud app catalog. You can actually look into the score metric, the adjusted as well, if you wish, and then you can look into the main application, the headquarters of and the location of the most of the applications that are discovered in this Contoso tenant. So this is the overview, and then you can see the traffic generated as well behind those applications. A number of IP addresses, users they interact with those apps, and then overall traffic. So let's look into the discovered apps. So we've got pre-selected the Gen AI category here. When I actually select it, you can see there is 29 applications, and some of them has really good score, high risk score, which means we are happy, and we constantly add new AI applications. We evaluate them for security and compliance reasons. So let's go, before we actually jump into other applications and potentially create the policy to sanction some of them, we can look into the score of the Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. So you can see we evaluate
Greg,
general...
could I interrupt you
Yes.
for just a moment? Could you zoom in just a bit? It seems some
Yes.
people need to.
Okay.
That would be great. Thanks.
No worries. So let's zoom in on those insights. So you can see there is we evaluate a number of different compliance requirements, the standards that might be applicable to your country or not. And you can see that we don't really have much concerns for this application. So for you as an administrator or someone from the compliance team, you might actually jump into more risky applications. So let's go and review applications that are scored a little bit less than 10. So let's say we focus on very poorly, let's say, design, or the applications that are not following certain compliance requirements or security. And we can see the from 0 to 6, we might actually consider creating a policy to make sure that we prevent users from accessing those applications. So you can see the reason why it's 6, right? So it's number of the security concerns here. There's also number of the compliance standards, security standards that the application might not be compliant with. So when we look into the policy, we can quickly create a policy from search that will provide us with the convenient filter for the policy. Then we can provide the name, so risky. And you don't need to immediately disable those applications. Obviously, you might review it with your compliance team, with your team responsible for recommending or approving unsanctioned applications, but you might as well add the tag to it to make sure that you get back to this application, and you also might tag it as monitored. But here let's assume we already reviewed those apps and we're strongly convinced that those applications should not be allowed in your environment. So we're going to select the governance action. We can also create the limit of the alert per policy, or create some playbook in Power Automate as well for more settings if we require. So we've got the name for it, we've got the category as well, and the severity. And from here, we can also add additional filters. So you can see the pre-selected filter. For my convenience, was just selected the AI apps. We've got the risk score. We can also add additional filters as well to look for specific apps and then domains as well. We can look for specific risk factors, general risk factors, and other risk factors. But for the simplicity and the interest of time as well of the demo, to give you like a good idea what's possible, and we can just go and select unsanctioned, and you can see on the, I zoomed out so that you can see an option to create. And if you are integrated with MDE, the users on the endpoints will get blocked immediately. If you are not integrated with MDE, you would need to create a script and apply it on your appliance. So there is number of network appliances that we support. So that's why we're recommending for the best experience, use MDE integration. So then we've got the overview of the applications. You can obviously just look through and select the application. When you go back to this and you've got number of the policies, you can easily just look for a specific policy that is active and a policy that already has some incidents, right? So we can now skip to another demo as well. We can dive into the Copilot, securing Copilot. So we've got a demo that will focus on on the project, on this sensitive information that it's, you know, every company would have it out there. In my case, there is Project Obsidian, and when you speak to your, you know, in your organization, or if you're managing any organizations and speak to your users, they will definitely be able to point out to some specific information that it should be secret and could be potentially required, you know, to be protected. And what we want to demonstrate here, we want to show you how Copilot can access this information as well, which could be potentially risky because the user that is using the Copilot could be a compromised user. So we want to have an oversight of what's happening there, right? So let's look into the demo. So when we look into got pre-created some. So what we want to do, I've got already the Copilot open here. So what I'm trying to, so we just pretend we're looking for a specific information. So let's say we are using a Copilot and we are looking for a specific project Obsidian, and we're looking for financial information here, right? So find me project Obsidian. Okay. So you could see that the Copilot is a very powerful tool, but in the wrong hands, it can actually quickly determine and search for sensitive information for those crown jewels. And when I speak to my customers, they can definitely identify what crown jewels are there. And when we run similar scenarios, and I will show you as well in advanced hunting, how you can actually search for, replace the Project Obsidian and do some advanced hunting queries, so that you can just replace it with your specific crown jewels word and that you might be looking for, and you will get results if the Copilot is potentially interacted with those files. And so you can see we've got the results on the screen here. So the summary here that you can potentially gain us some good advantage, and the information that's in this document, we can open it as well, and that really helps. You know, that in this way the bad actor, potentially bad actor, that compromise the user might actually gain access to the information without actually raising any other alarm bells, because quite frequently there would be, you know, if let's say if they were not using Copilot, they would be, you know, downloading gigabytes of data that could be potentially, you know, highlighted as a risky behavior already in MDA existing policies. But let's look into the incidents. And let's see if we can actually, if we detected this unusual activity or potentially, you know, risky activity. So I'm just going to look for the Copilot interaction and verify if there's any incidents that have been raised. Okay, so I already have the results in here on the screen for the interest of time. And you can see I've been generating a couple of during my earlier testing. It could take, you know, a couple of minutes up to, let's say, half an hour. So I just want to make sure we've got the incident pre-created so that we can immediately look and show you the example of the incident. So here is the one that my user that I'm using. It's Julio generating an incident. That's really simple. An incident has one alert, so I've got also prepared like additional incident I will share with you with additional alerts for just to show you more complexity behind this. So we can see when activity related events, when you click on the events, let me just zoom, you can explore and get an idea of what actually happened, which files were potentially opened and queried. So you can see there was a couple of files touched by this user. We can look into the raw data as well. Let me just scroll down here. We're looking to scroll into the raw data. We've got more details about the user ID, Copilot, event data as well. We will look into the advanced hunting as well in a minute. What's really useful as well for our customers, it's a recommended action. So it will help you to get an idea how to address this incident. So you like to, review user activities. So you can see we've got the related events as well here. And we can look into the exact user activities as well that we'll just explore in a minute. Then we can check for other suspicious activities in the timeline, check for suspicious activities on the device as well, where the interconnect agent is installed. So just to give you a little bit more complex picture, I've created another, so design similar activity earlier on but with the more complex use case. So here I was using some potentially suspicious anonymous IP address, and the potentially jailbreak attempt was on the AI model as well. So let's look into this incident. So here we've got an incident graph that helps us to understand of the relation between the potential user, the device, IP address. And that's why you can see here, as part of the attack story, we've got additional activities and then alerts that can raise your alarm bells, and that's why it gives us more. It usually will give you more confidence in the attack story of what happened with the user if they were using some malicious device as well. So we're focusing on the malicious interaction with the Copilot. So it was the same action as I just showed you earlier on. It's just I wasn't using the unusual IP address. I just wanted to avoid any complication during this demo and potentially have some issues with the screen sharing. So here we've got the related events, what happened to the user. We can do also, we've got, if you use the Copilot as well, you can use the Copilot to investigate potential security risks around the Copilot, right? So
Greg, would you mind zooming in for me again?
Okay, zoom in.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a little bit challenging here as well. Yeah.
Yep.
So we've got zooming in, and then we've got the all details, and then raw data as well that frequently helps you to understand the more details about the incidents. What we'll do, I think, now we're going to jump into the advanced hunting. Okay, So when we look into advanced hunting, we can build a query, right, to look for activities that have been related to Copilot. So let's write a quick query here. Looking for cloud apps events where action type contains we already have the code. Let me just zoom in to make sure everyone can see. Hopefully I can zoom in here. So the Copilot, and then we've got the raw event. Okay, we've got back on the screen here. We're looking for the raw event data. That has our sensitive keyword. So you can see the scenario is that there was a user potentially compromised that triggered the alert, and then following the alert, we wanted to learn more if there was any other suspicious activities coming from any other users. We can enhance it to, let's say, the 30 days as well, so we've got better understanding if there was some unusual activity around there. So now we can expand and look into the details of the. So our user was in mid-May, mid-March. Was Mari, and then you can see we've got the application that was used, so our Copilot chat, the account object ID, and then you can see the activity. Hopefully you can see, okay. So that will help us to understand if there was any other key items that been highlighted here. Okay, so based on that, we can actually create a rule. I'm not sure if I've got enough rights. Hopefully I do. Create a custom detection rule. So when this specific query meets the requirement in the future, we'll get the trigger here. Okay, and then we can select the severity, obviously, provide the alert title. And then just use a description and then provide the recommended action, what should be done. I forgot to select the category. So depending on your, so we can see into, so lateral movement, it could be potentially used for lateral movement or data exfiltration. And then next. Okay. And then we can select the automated actions, and then we can potentially disable the user, mark user as compromised. Well, I'm not going to select the submit because I don't want to add additional alert here in my test tenant, but hopefully you get a good understanding how you can use the advanced hunting to create and manage the custom rule that will help you to match similar events in the future, that will get you a good idea of similar activities. Okay, so I think as well, you could see that from here, when the users were potentially, looking for the file, they can easily just, from the file, they can just browse through the. I'm just trying to browse through the location and potentially compromise other files as well. So you can see it's one of the actions you could search as well later on. So I think just 1 second. Just go back to the slides. I'm not following and I'm not checking the chat just now, but hopefully there was some questions and also some of them were answered. So we went through two demos, one that included the discovery of the third-party application, and the second one that showed you how Copilot could be potentially used for exfiltrating the data, and how we can actually stay on top of it with the MDA and raise an alert, raise a flag when the potentially malicious activity might be happening in your environment. Hopefully you will find those resources useful. We'll share the links as well, and then we will publish them online as well for your convenience. So some of those links are useful for when you want to review the other, not just MDA related activities, to security settings to protect AI applications. So with that, we can open for questions, and hopefully I'm just gonna stop sharing the screen. And if there's any questions, we can read them out. If there's any unanswered questions as well.
That's great. Thanks, Greg. I don't believe we have any unanswered questions. The team was behind the scenes doing a great job. So we have an empty queue now, so I will just go ahead and close this out. Thank you so much, Greg, for being our guest today and for sharing such great information with our community. Also, thank you so much to the Q&A team who helped us with answering questions and providing resourceful information. To all the listeners still on the line, if you're someone who wishes to aid in the protection of the world from cyber threats and desires to have a say in shaping our strategies, blueprints, and recommendations, then we invite you to become part of our security community. Together, we can make a global impact. So join us at aka.ms/securitycommunity. This is also where you'll be notified about upcoming webinars, events, and other announcements. For those of you who may have additional questions on the topic we just covered or other product-related questions, please raise them on our Microsoft Tech Community discussion space at aka.ms/MDA_community. Thank you all for being part of our community and for joining us on these webinars. We hope to see you next time. Goodbye.